Welcome everyone to another episode of Football Armchair Experts, where we pretend to know everything, but actually we know nothing. I think today, more than most days, we'll be pretending to know more things. We'll be doing our summer transfer window roundup. So we'll be going through all 20 Premier League clubs and evaluating how well they've done in the transfer window. We have a special tier list prepared also. So if you want, you can join us doing it. Link in the description below. And I'm sure you have a lot of comments on what and how we are grading each of the Premier League clubs. So in true Fabrizio Romano fashion, here we go. Start. So we're going by alphabetical order. We start with Arsenal.
I feel like it's a bit of rose-tinted glasses that their window is being carried by Jesus and Zinchenko, who have done exceptionally well. Good on Arteta for signing players that fit into his system so readily. But to be fair, we never seen Marquinhos or Vieira. Vieira, I saw him like against Man U, he played for a little bit only, but nowhere near enough to judge lah. So it's a very good window. You did mention they got rid of deadweight, which is super important. I think that helped to build the group mentality that Arteta wants, and that's why Arsenal are playing well, I think. So it's a very good window, but it's not. I wouldn't rate it as the highest tier. I'll probably, personally, I think it's an A tier window for that.
They didn't really sign any superstars or what, but I think they signed a lot of like Premier League proven players that are quite steady. Overall, not S, but I think before the A already, and now it's a bit pushing S already, but I don't think it's S because it's still too early to judge. A.
Yeah, I think I'll give A lah, just because of Jesus alone.
I think interestingly, before the Man U game, when they were zooming in on the huddle in the middle kind of thing, Jesus and Zinchenko leading the team talk. I guess maybe you can say they're more leaders in the Arsenal team now. Maybe there's that also. But yeah, I'm also gonna agree that it's A. I guess this one is quite clean cut. I think maybe in terms of if there's any debate, it'll probably come with the next team. Aston Villa, Manjun's pick for top 6. I don't know if he's going to say that. A lot of people actually would say that Aston Villa have had a pretty good window, but results might say otherwise. But we're not basing it on results. They've made the Coutinho deal permanent, brought in Boubacar Kamara, well sought after in Europe on a free transfer. Diego Carlos from Sevilla was a surprising one also. There are a few other transfers that were a little bit desperate towards the end. Then Donker from Wolves and Bednarek from Southampton.
Based on the list alone, I think I'm quite impressed lah. I mean, they did sign their Donker, which I didn't really expect, and they didn't lose Douglas Luiz, so I guess that's something. I mean, I think I still give it a B lah. These are not like A grade players, so I'm still gonna give it a B.
Yeah, look, if you don't look at the results, I would say it's A tier for Aston Villa. I mean, the fact that they couldn't even get Philippe Coutinho, but I think that one, I don't know if having him already or known before that balances it out. It's like, he already sort of there, then
I guess
it's only a matter of time before you close the deal, those sort of things. Just gonna give an A tier.
When you look at a team sheet, like who is Gerrard gonna play, then you start to feel confused also. Like he signed these guys for which positions, then Donker, where's he gonna play or who's he gonna replace? Is he a backup? A panic buy in the last day, that kind. So on paper it looks great lah. Even Coutinho now is like bench, impact sub. B plus A lah,
I think based on that we're going to put A, but I guess maybe that's an idea for next time. Judging managers' tactics. Maybe that's the next year if this does well.
They did nothing, right?
The Marcos Senesi was supposed to be some marquee signing, right? For them. To show up the defense. They're still gonna whack 9-0. For the Ryan Frederick signing alone, I'll give you a D lah.
What did Ryan Frederick do to you?
Somehow he always plays. Even though I completely hate him, I feel he's damn useless.
In Bournemouth's context, is it too harsh to give them a bad score just because you sort of didn't expect anything from them since the start, right? I think it should be like a C.
The outlay that they spent, it was 12 million on Tavernier, 13 million on Senesi. To be honest, if it's 25 million, I think it can be better spent elsewhere also. I agree with D.
I agree with D also. They could have at least loaned some Premier League experience.
I think we agree on our first D. Brentford. Losing Christian Eriksen was always going to be hard to replace, but they've actually done it by replacing with another Danish attacking midfielder, Mikko Damsgaard.
No, I'm this close to getting them by S. They add like three good young players for like decent prices, and then they shot their behind. Yeah, then they shot their behind with Ben Mee. So it was on a free. They can't just spend a lot of money, but I think they spend it very well lah.
I mean, unfortunately, I don't know most of the players, so very hard to judge. I think the only guy I see before other than Ben Mee, probably Mikkel Damsgaard, because he was doing quite well in the Euros, right? For Norway or something. Or Sweden, was it?
Denmark.
Yeah. 2 out of 3, but I still got it wrong.
I mean, they were never going to get a player on the equal standing as Christian Eriksen. But actually, I think Mikko Damsgaard, at least like you said on paper, we haven't seen him yet. But like it seems like more than adequate kind of replacement. He's younger also. But yeah, so I guess we got our first S. I think Brighton, interesting to see what everyone thinks about their transfer window, because if you thought Brentford transfer window was unknown players, this is next level. Honestly, I don't think there's any big name players to mention here. The only one that is like regularly starting for them is Pervis Estupiñán. That's their left back they used to replace Kukurea. And he's done pretty well. Their outgoings also. Lost Bissouma, Morpé and Kukurea.
Kukurea. Yeah, when you look at it like that, right, they actually have, it looks like quite a bad transfer window, but their performances like sort of cushion the impact. So it will influence our rating here also, like can't be helped. So I think because of the outgoings is too big, their window is not great. Like, I think it's B.
I guess maybe the difference here is that even though they lost Kukurea, to be honest, they kind of scammed Chelsea lah. He's not 16 million.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, for the value actually not
So
so
just for that, right, I'm not going to put them on C or D. I will agree with B also.
That's a good point. Yeah, very good point.
How much did they get for Bissouma?
How much? Was it 50?
25? About market value lah.
Oh, Basuma, yeah.
Yeah, okay lah. I think the fact that they sold Cucurella for so much and their backup for him seems to be coping well. So it's like you lose a good player, but you replace him sufficiently. So I think B is quite a fair result.
Well, now did Mark mention the scam of a Cucurella, right? I think I give that S just for that. Allow it.
But it's not just that deal only lah.
Okay. Let me see. I don't think Basuma is just a big deal. They lost. They got the Moses Caicedo, which I think is pretty good. Yeah. But I think the fact that they didn't buy any striker when they lost Morpé. I don't know how good Morpé is. I never rated him ever. But I guess should be a B lah. I don't think it moves the needle much for Brighton.
D for Brighton. Next, will it be C for Chelsea or not? Big transfer window, 280 million spent. And see how much we're going to grade them. As a Chelsea fan, will you be satisfied with this window?
I gotta say yes, yeah, I'm quite happy with the signings considering how many we flopped. Like the centre back position, we wasted too much time on centre back, hopping from target to target. So that was a bit annoying. So I guess we have no choice but to overpay for Fofana massively, and it's so late somehow. That was a bit of a no choice. The only annoyance I think is the defensive mid position lah. Like wait until the deadline day, then you sign some like Denis Zakaria on loan. He's very good lah, but he's been injured for quite a while the last season. So his potential sort of stagnated for that year. So that's the wild card. We just hope he's not a Saul lah. Yeah, but if he's good, then it's potentially an S tier. But because of that, right, like Aubameyang also, we don't know how well he'll fit in, to be honest. So I cannot give S tier. To me, it's an A.
I think Chelsea one is like a lot more angles to look at it. I think it's very complicated. First of all, like whether the outgoing, I think the outgoing players are a lot of the key players, and like this, especially in defense, right? It's like basically the foundation of the defense is gone. So even when they spend so much to replace them with quality players like Koulibaly and I guess to a certain extent Fofana or Kurela, it's like they may be good, but they won't be as stable, especially at the start, as like the players you lost, right? And do you improve on your squad? Do you improve over the players that you lose? I don't think so. Like I would think like Koulibaly, Rudiger sort of like similar. Then Fofana, I don't know like whether he's like proven at the top level yet, or even though you paid so much for him. A lot of the players that they bought in maybe weren't their first choice. It's just that Barcelona keeps stealing our players. So after that, they just go a bit like, shit, we need to get some players in, right? And then like we have to pay more for them. And that's in addition to, I think Chelsea usually already pay more for players. Say it's like a high B tier. I find it hard to give an A tier, even though they brought in a lot of good players.
But I think I'll give an A for this. Yeah,
Okay.
I think the defense they replaced well. If they didn't sign Aubameyang by the end of the window, I'll probably give it a B.
I'm going to say that I'll probably lean towards B or C. I think it's a little bit of an underwhelming transfer window for Chelsea, despite how much they spend also. Yeah, not great on the value for money front, but I guess, given everything, they did manage to more or less 1-for-1 replace everyone they lost. We'll go to Crystal Palace. Basically, the only signing of note is Sheikh Doucouré, Manjun's favourite African player.
Yes, of course.
I think I want to give them a C. Like no change for Crystal Palace. It's okay lah, because they did relatively fine last season. You managed to keep Wilfred Zaha for another season, which I think is a big thing. I think without him, the club just going to collapse. So.
Based on the window alone, I'll probably give them a C also. This is not that exciting.
Every transfer window, we are praising them for keeping Zaha. And that's the only deal or the lack of deal that keeping them a C grade. So I think they are on even terms with Bournemouth's transfer window, to be fair. So I will probably go closer to a D here.
I'm going to go C also. Next, I have Everton, Manjun's favorite Amadou Onana. I'll never get tired of mentioning his name.
I actually quite like it for Everton's level. I think they did really well. Losing Richarlison is obviously big, but we always expected them to lose either DCL or Richarlison or both. So again, this one we can praise them for keeping DCL, or rather thank DCL for being injured for quite a long time. So he can't really move. The one I'm a bit disappointed is yeah. The disappointment is they let Andre Gomez go because I quite like him as a midfielder. I thought he was really good, but I guess doesn't really fit Lampard's team. So for their level, I think it's an A tier.
I give them full marks for the centre backs that they bought or they got on free. But paying 20 million for Dwight Manuel is no good I think I told Mark it's a Nikola Vlasic 2.0 No freaking way, man. I think I'll give you a C. Not very impressive.
Yeah, I think it's a C for me too. Especially when you compare to their previous few seasons, right? It's no matter how badly they did in the league, they always try to improve their squad with sort of big signings or marquee signings. So this season, I think it's a very drastic difference. Maybe because they didn't do well last season, and then the management is okay, maybe we shouldn't give the manager so much money because I don't really trust him yet or something. So Connor Cody is sort of a good signing, but I also feel like that is their level of players that they can get and they should get.
Actually, for me, the main thing was how they were going to replace Richarlison in terms of the goals that he contributed towards the end of the season that saved them from relegation. In terms of is Neil Maupay anywhere near the level of Richarlison? No, he wasn't even a reliable scorer at Brighton also. Yeah, I'm going to agree. I'm going to say C also. In terms of Fulham,
not sure if you're really intended to get Carlos Vinicius or anything but I felt like on the last day y'all went a bit to the old Fulham style, just whacking your signings, just in case, just for the debt. But the draw Polina is a good signing. I think that signing alone deserves an S. Okay, I think you all replace well. Go give you an A.
I mean, Bern Leno, I think it's a good signing. I don't know a lot of the rest, but if you can manage to get random players from PSG to join you, it's quite a big thing, really. So I don't know, B around the B or A.
I also quite like Fulham's transfer window, largely because of how some of the players are playing. Palhinha, Pereira, probably an A.
I was going to say A, but to be honest, the deadline day signings, I'm not quite sure what to make of them. They seem like Manjun said, a little bit desperate also, because we did have a few of our more targets that we wanted, but for whatever reason didn't get through, like Justin Kluivert. That was a bit of a mess. In a neutral's perspective, maybe looking at a lot of these deals, you'll be surprised that Fulham have gotten most of them. So I'll say A also. Next, we can move to Leeds. Leeds did lose two big transfers, Calvin Phillips and Rafinha. So you have to take that into account also.
Yeah, okay. Based on the outgoing, right? And I have no idea who the incoming are. I'm gonna say it's a bad window for them.
Okay.
I think it's I think it may be a D.
He told me Rafinha and Calvin they're bound to leave. So
okay.
No harm in that. Then they bought players.
What? Okay, sure. Everyone has their opinion.
I mean, they can't really help it. I mean, Leeds, they struggled last season, so they were bound to leave anyways. Okay. At least they got good money for them. Players they brought in, young, got potential, didn't cost a lot. I think it's decent. I'll give it a B.
To be fair, some of their incomings really played very well for complete unknowns, especially the Aronson guy. You don't expect an American to do so well suddenly.
I don't know if that's borderline racism, but okay.
No, Americans in EPL, very few. Even Pulisic also tapered off already. So Aronson starting really well so far, so I have to give that credit. Sinisterra kind of has decent output. At best, it's a C here.
We've seen this kind of thing before, where you try to replace big players with unknowns and then it really doesn't really work out. So far, it's looked okay, but theoretically, we are basing it just based on the names. So I will lean towards D also. I guess that makes it 2 Ds, 1 C, 1 B. Majority going with D. We were talking about it before we started. Leicester with their transfer window, Alex Smithies. And Manju, can you pronounce the Belgian defender's name?
What phase? Okay, if you're looking at the window alone, it's probably bad. The thing I don't like, right, I mean, it's good that they praise for Fana, that's great, and then but kanina like if they cannot, I feel like they didn't get. It's bad that they had to rely on Danny Ward to be number one. For fuck's sake, I mean, there's a young guy on the bench just playing him instead of Danny Ward. Like he looks like he can't play anymore. But so I think if they didn't intend to spend, then they replace Michael. I guess I'll give it a B lah. But just for this, I'll give it a D.
I feel like it's a F. I feel like they're doing like a sort of like a squad clearance. I don't know what Brendan Rodgers trying to do. So basically, anytime a player linked to another squad, right, oh, freeze out the squad already. Didn't really buy anybody in. I mean, these two ins are like negligible. Like they're not there. I don't think it makes a difference. But their outgoing was like been quite big.
Yeah, I think it's an F lah, straight up F.
Yeah, Sim, I agree. If there's any club going to get an F, it was always going to be Leicester. This was a bad weekend for us to do our review, especially when Danny Ward had a shocker against Brighton. So basically, I think like half of the goals were his fault. Liverpool's transfer window. I guess maybe right at the start, when we were saying like what Darwin Núñez coming in, Fabio Carvalho for youth, and we were saying like, oh, maybe this is Liverpool pretty mature kind of approach to the transfer window. You got your big deal in early, but towards the end, you kind of had a desperate rush to get in a midfielder. You ended up with Arthur Melo.
I think the sort of rush at the end is sort of like not really foreseen just because of the amount of injuries we already get at the start of the season. I'm still judging it based on how I felt at the start of the season, which is a B.
Okay.
Because that's the thing, like you lose money, right? That's like almost irreplaceable already. And then you have to spend so much to get in Darwin Núñez, who, I mean, regardless of how he played, like he's supposed to be like a good young player that's coming in and someone for the future that's maybe gonna replace the goals that you are losing for money. So I think it's like that's the thing, you can't really upgrade on money. So it's very hard to get above a in a sense. Like you can't really get anyone in that can improve you on top of him. And then on top of that, you're losing money for not a lot of money, and then you're buying Núñez for so much money. So I think overall it's like B.
So Núñez gives a completely different dimension to the attack. So that's a super good signing. Him alone. Carvalho is definitely one for the future. So very hard to judge him now. But I always feel like Liverpool always needed a proper centre mid. Like someone who can come in the first team and be a proper backup. Then right back also lah. I always think they don't have a good second right back after Trent. Like I don't know who is it, Joe Gomez, man, but he sometimes centre back better. I don't know. I would rank them the same as Chelsea lah. They are not better and not worse also. So B lor.
Liverpool spent like 80 mil, 200 mil less than Chelsea. Not bad a deal to get about the same transfer window.
I think it would be tough to get a C. So I'll probably give it a B lah.
Yeah, so I'm going to lean towards a B also. It's an average window for Liverpool. Could do better. Man City, everybody's talking about him, is Erling Haaland. I guess maybe the surprise is that he didn't cost that much. Also about the same as Darwin Núñez kind of price. They got Calvin Phillips basically in as backup.
So tempted to give them like S tier, just cause of how much they paid for Erling Haaland. It's like insane that you can get him at that price now. Then when I look at their outgoing, right, actually it's quite a large overhaul also because like Sterling, Jesus, Zinchenko, and even Fernandinho. It's like even though he's like old already, but I think he played a large part in their success. So I think they're more or less at the same standard, or maybe even they're maybe slightly better, but it's more of like a different outlook to their team than what they strengthened by a lot. So solely based on that, I'm gonna give them a A.
For the Haaland signing alone, right, it's S tier for me. Probably the best striker in the world. I think don't need to explain for this one.
Plus, they weren't bullied for Cucurella. They very quickly switched target. Very quickly switch and get a different left back. That Guardiola is probably going to train him up until become like at least a Zinchenko level player, which is damn good deal. So like, yeah, I have faith in the Man City business model and the coach lah. So S tier lah, straight up S tier. Haaland's got like.
And I guess maybe they felt like they did have that kind of buffer. Getting in Haaland, they could afford to lose Sterling, Fernandinho, Zinchenko and Jesus, and they went for pretty good prices. Manchester United, they did eventually get a lot of transfers through, but towards the end, and it needed them to bottom out the table before they did something about it. Initially, it started out with just Christian Eriksen on a free. They got in Lisandro Martinez, a lot of people calling him too short for the Premier League. Then they stepped things up only in the last week of the window. Casemiro, Anthony, and most importantly, Martin Rudiger.
That's right.
Game changer.
Gonna save that season.
Okay, on players alone, right, I think it's a damn good window for them. But because of the prices, specifically for Casemiro, I really don't like the 70 mil paid for him. And it's like very last minute. He still need to adapt to the Premier League and all that shit. That takes them down one tier from being S for me. Anthony is super expensive, but I think in that one game he played, less than 60 minutes he played, I think he looked really, really good. If he can keep it up, I think it'll be a very, very good signing for Man U. It's a very suitable signing for Ten Hag. It's very clear why he wants him. Then everyone else he bought have slowly gelled, and then they've been performing quite solidly. Like the Malaysia fella also quite good. Ericsson is quietly doing a very, very good job in central mid. Martinez, slow start, but he's finding his feet now beside Varane. They also got rid of quite a bit of dead weight. I think biggest one is Paul Pogba. He's finally out.
Give him some free time to do some witchcraft.
But yeah, wow, I really like the incomings because they really fit in the team very well. But they're not S tier because of the prices paid. So I think A.
I don't think there's like a marquee signing in a sense. Like for Anthony, I think he's like relatively unknown until he was linked to Man U. And even then, I don't think he was linked to a lot of the other clubs. It's sort of a Ten Hag comfort signing. Like, I work at Ajax before, I know this player. But no, like he wasn't really linked to anybody else. So I think he was, no matter how good he is now in that first game, right? It's like on paper, it's like still a relatively unknown for a large amount of money. So not saying he's a bad player, but I don't think it's worth it. And then Casemiro, I think maybe the only sort of star player that they got in this season that's like truly like the best in his position. So I think the price is slightly too expensive, but I think it's fair because number one, it's from Real Madrid. So, and number two is like, Man U. So you're gonna be overpriced a bit no matter who you buy. And then to get someone from Real Madrid is like a bit of, if they don't want to let go, right, it's very hard to make them let go. So, and I think they didn't want to lose Casemiro. It's just that because Man U came in with a huge offer, they got no choice. And Casemiro also kinda tempted by the package. Yeah. But actually, I think the most Hwasan one is Christian Eriksen. I think he's damn good. I don't know why nobody wants him. It's like on the free some more, it's like genuinely almost the world class level already. It's like,
yeah, I think overall, like Casemiro addresses a problem position they have, like defensive mid. We've been talking about it so long also, like McFred. Now it's not gonna be that looking like. So I'm leaning towards A or B.
Yeah, I think at this point, Man U, I don't think the price matters. Just get the correct players in, just get the players that they have wants. So they can pay what the fuck they want to pay. Okay, I think for this, I get an A also.
Newcastle, everybody thought they were going to spend a lot of money.
Yeah, I was surprised at the start why we haven't been signing more players. But I think about it, it also makes sense. We made most of our signings like last season, mid-season already. Like Kieran Trippier, you can say Matt Target, Bruno Guimaraes. So excited by the standard of signings that we have. Particularly Nick Pope, what a bargain inside that one. I think without him, we get 0 points. Yeah, I think for me, decent signing. Isak, not really full 2 legs jump on his boat yet, on his bandwagon, because I think he's a bit inconsistent. So have to see how 16 million is a bit of a stretch. That's Cucurella money. So so I think for now I'll give them A. I think that seems okay. Yeah.
Okay. Iman?
Yeah, I agree because like I said, I think they signed a couple of like solid players, Nick Pope, Matt Target, and even Steven Portman. I think even somehow I already heard his name before, even though I don't really watch the French league. But it's been linked to like clubs here and there once in a while. Not just this season, but across like several years really. So I think all of them are solid. And Isak, I've also heard of him before, so that shows something because I don't watch the Spanish league. I mean, I still feel that they've overpaid for him, but it doesn't really matter because Newcastle are very rich.
Tempted to go close to S also, but I will lean towards A.
It's a very slow and steady progression, and I think the signings have performed super well. Probably an A lah.
This is the one everybody's been waiting for. I'm not going to read out all 21 signings.
Well,
But everyone,
don't really talk about it.
Pants boys. No, but heck it. They buy so many, they're going to S tier for this. At least they tried. No, at least they tried to survive. S for bravery.
Well, yeah, I think S tier, but the sheer number of deals they managed to get over the line, and not like paying over the top for a lot of, for most of them, I feel.
there's only one they pay over the top.
Yeah.
Who? Neko
Morgan
Williams,
Gibbs White.
Morgan.
the
Oh,
40
yeah,
mil.
Obscene amount of money for someone who didn't even start for Wolves.
Yeah, and I mean, if you recognize that your squad coming up is like nowhere near enough to survive, right? Then, I mean, why not go for one big gamble? It's like, oh, we're just gonna all in this season. If we go down again, then that's it. But at least you had a good go at it, right? And you can tell people like, you tried your best.
I think very tempting to give S tier, but I don't like their striker, like the Awani guy.
What, Jesse
He
Lingard?
doesn't-
They got some beast.
I will-
Got see how big size it is on TV.
Yeah, but he doesn't do anything
Fucking
else.
huge.
Right? You might as well get the Akin Fenwa guy.
He's still playing, man.
Yeah, because striker is not really addressed. Everyone else is like pretty damn decent. Like suddenly got a big name pop up, Andy Henderson, Lingard, that kind of shit. That's all quite decent. Even the Renan Lodi, I'm surprised he come to Nottingham Forest. Like, what the hell? Those are all very good signings that is deserving an S tier already. But then striker is like missing, the ones they need to go.
Just based on the quantity of signings, like passive from the club themselves. I don't know, every day one new signing or something. OT or every day. But yeah, for us, we'll see if that will work out, the 21 signing. Manju will be very excited because he's a fan of double barreled names. They've already got James Ward-Prowse and Kyle Walker-Peters. They've added Amel Bella-Kotchap and Ainsley Maitland-Niles and Kaleta Cha from Marseille also. So that's 3 new double barreled signings.
Yeah, Maitland-Niles, I don't know what the hell is he anymore. La. He keeps going here, every going there. Where is it? Freaking journeyman. He's so young journeyman. but I really, I watched a couple of their games. I really like their signings from their kids from Man City, which they bought.
Yes.
Like the keeper, Gavin Bazunu. What's the other guy's name?
Romeo Lavia, is it?
Yeah, the Romeo Lavia. Even the guy from Rangers, Joe Aribo, I think is decent. I think I'm going to get an A. I think it's quite decent. It's quite good players.
Actually, even though there are no star names and all that, I was thinking about this also. At first, I thought maybe Southampton didn't have a very good window, right? But looking at how a lot of the players were quite cheap and are doing pretty well, yeah, actually, I think Southampton low-key have a pretty good window.
But I think the strat of going for the Man City youngsters quite good, because Man City always got a lot of good youngsters. So what better way to do it than to go for them when they're still young and then sell it back to Man City at a profit next time.
Spurs, a lot of people say they have very good transfer window. They got a lot of their transfer deals done early.
Yeah, it's a definite improvement. Like looking at the players that are going out, the only player that they're getting rid of a lot of dead weight in a sense. Like like Giovanni Lo Celso is always don't know what he's doing and just in and out of the squad. But not really doing much. And Dobile also. It's all these players is they're sort of stalwarts in the team. They're always there, right? But they don't really help the squad do anything. You just maintain the standard sort of, or in a sense holding them back. So they're not bad players, but they're not good enough to take it to the next level. So I think it's a brave decision to let so many of them go at one shot. And then the players that they brought in, I think
this is the first. He rarely DC one.
I thought it's me, ja. Hey, wait, is it us or is it them?
Is it? Wait. Now I'm very confused. Why is it 2-2?
Yeah, but cannot be us. How can we be lagging and be talking to each other?
Right. No, yeah, that doesn't even make any sense at all.
That's so funny. Oh, fuck. Okay. Hey, welcome back.
Hello?
back already.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I think that has never happened before.
So to let all of them go and then bring in quite a lot of good players, like I said, like I was saying, like Bissouma, Richarlison, Longley. So I think A is a good place for them.
Yeah, I think I agree. But I rate their signings quite highly actually. And I like the new guy's name, Destiny Udogi. Wow.
Udogi.
Who is it? Destiny's a shipper name.
His mother and his father, Destiny Ugogi together. His porn star name, Destiny Ugogi. Cannot be everybody S tier. Who can always have the perfect transfer? Yeah, I can get A lah. Okay, S a bit too much. I cannot put everybody S.
Yeah, no wow
Okay lah.
factor also. It's like
Everybody A,
Yeah.
a lot of A.
good steady signings, I guess.
But to me, to have Richarlison as a backup, okay, he's not really backup lah, but backup-ish kind of player is fucking great lah.
Go with A for Spurs.
I think that new signings are fantastic lah. I mean, that's the player standard alone. Like Skameka, Luka Paqueta, I think wow, fantastic lor. But the fact they didn't manage to sell freaking Nikola Vlasic, right, and he's still on loan.
Oh, he's still there.
Yeah, he's still be on loan lah. I don't think it's
He left on
buy lah. Then they didn't even lose anybody important. Ryan Fredericks, thank God, he's gone. So I think decent signing. I will put them. Okay, I'll put them on the same tier as like Spurs because I really like their players a lot lah. I really like players a lot. I think they're too good for West Ham.
The only risk is that a lot of them are like continental players. You don't know if they can adapt to EPL. That's the only risk. But on paper, the potential is there. They're all from very, very good teams, good experience, good performances. Even Cornet is a very good signing from Burnley.
Yeah, because like I think Scamacca, I think maybe because strikers from or Italian strikers from Serie A sometimes have the perception they come in, they 0 goals, 0 assists one. Then they just flop totally. So I don't know about Scamacca. Yeah, but agree with Manjun also. I would never have thought that Luka Paqueta would go to West Ham because he was linked to a lot of bigger clubs than that. Manjun and Robin's A. We're going to lean for West Ham to go A. Wolves, of course, their usual Portuguese contingent got even bigger. The Goncalo Guedes, Mateus Nunes, or I don't know if Manjun wants to correct me on any of their pronunciation.
I have no idea.
And they brought in Sasa Kalajdzic, and he probably got ruled out for 1 year, but it's okay. Now it's rumored they're going to bring in Diego Costa.
Let's go.
Yeah, man. Bring him.
Don't even need to be Portuguese. I can speak Portuguese already.
That's true.
I'll probably have to rate them same as Everton. Probably a C for me.
Also not very impressed. I think the best deal they did was like sell Morgan Gibbs for like 40 mil. Walao, what the hell was that even?
Deal of the century, that one.
Yeah, and thank the Lord Fabio Silva isn't there anymore lah. I don't know what he was there for lah. Past 2 seasons, go there waste time money. So I got to get a C lah.
I guess you can say quite bold from Bruno Lage. I don't know if it's his decision alone or whether it's the club's decision to revamp their entire back line. Romain Saiz, Willy Bolly, and Connor Cody. Their back three all leaving same window. Yeah, I don't know if that's a... Yeah, I mean, they have Max Kilman to come in and step up, and Nathan Collins they brought in from Burnley to replace. I don't know. It does seem a little bit of a risky decision. We'll see if it makes a big difference to their season. I still have them going down. I'm going to go see also. Thank you once again for joining us on our summer transfer window review. Even though we know nothing, hopefully we've learned something. We'll see you again next week for a proper prediction video as per normal. Bye-bye.
Bye.